Hi guys, welcome back to Sitcom Queens. I'm Alden,
I'm Michaela.
and today we're going to be talking about Hannah Montana. So, of course, we're recording this beforehand, but when this drops, it'll be the 20th anniversary of when Hannah Montana premiered. I'm wearing a little Hannah Montana t-shirt. I got mine at Target for like $12, so Hannah fans, run and go get some. Before we kind of get into it, though, I wanted to ask a couple of questions. So, Michaela, what are like your thoughts on Hannah Montana? Like growing up, watching it now, like how are you feeling about the show? How did you feel about the show?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, I definitely had watched some episodes of Hannah Montana, and I have evidence of this because I, at one point, had the Hannah Montana wig, and I have like a photo
Oh
of
my
myself
god.
with the wig on, and like, yeah, it just seemed like a very cool thing at the time. But the weird thing is like, Hannah Montana was one of the Disney Channel shows that, like, besides that, I remembered the least. So, like,
Mm.
watching this pilot. There were certain things where I was like, I feel like I haven't seen this before. Like, it felt new. Yeah, I think I probably just watched some random episodes throughout this season, but wasn't following it like episode to episode. Hannah Montana was a huge thing, obviously, and like the music was super popular, and it was just kind of like a One Direction, Big Time Rush type of phenomenon at the time, but even before those people. Like, what I do remember is the house. Like, she has this beach house. They
Yes.
live in California. Like, I do remember that setting being like super cool and also that secret identity thing as well.
Yeah, I know I didn't watch it from the beginning. I don't know what I was watching beforehand because I was 3, but I do remember like when I was 4, my babysitter was like babysitting us and like I saw this show on. So I went to go ask my mom if I was allowed to watch it because maybe I had heard about it or it looked funny or it looked cool. And I remember the episode too. It was the one where she like is fighting with Lily and that was the first episode I watched with my sister, my babysitter, and it was like I don't know what it was, but I guess it unlocked something in me. I was a huge fan. I had light up sneakers that you could press and it would sing Hannah Montana songs. Like I was a big fan. I think I even like had a Hannah Montana themed birthday party once. I know I had a Hannah Montana 90. Like I was deep in it. I didn't have a wig. I wish I did, but I did not have a wig. But yeah, no, you're right. It's like such a cultural phenomenon and something I've read like online because you know us film nerds. I read that like this Hannah Montana was not really the first iteration of it. If you go back to like Lizzie McGuire, they kind of tested that concept in the movie where you have Lizzie and
Oh,
Isabella who
yeah.
are identical but have a different hair color and they're both big pop sensations at that like in the
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
sort of. So that was kind of them sort of like testing out if audiences would respond to that sort of idea and obviously the movie was a smash hit. So yes, audiences loved the concept. So I think if I remember correctly they tried to like workshop it a lot and then it kind of just didn't hit. And then Miley auditioned, and they felt like she was too young. So I think they like held it and waited for her to age up a bit so she could like lead the show, which is a huge deal. They changed the character name from like Chloe to Miley to fit her better. And like obviously the company made billions of dollars based on Miley Stewart and Hannah Montana, which is just insane. But yeah, no, it was a huge cultural phenomenon, like we said. I loved it. You loved it. I mean, yeah, it's really great. Episode title is Lily, Do You Want to Know a Secret? Fun fact, all episode titles for Hannah Montana are references to like a 80s or 90s classic song. Like, I don't know what
Oh,
this one is referencing, but
cool.
I do know there's like Lily's mom has got to get one on, and Stacy's mom has got to get one on. So stuff like that. It aired, like we said, March 24th, 2006 on Disney Channel, starring Miley Cyrus as Miley Stewart, Hannah Montana, Emily Osment as Lily Truscott, Mitchell Musso as Oliver Oaken, Billy Ray Cyrus as Robbie Ray Stewart, and Jason Earls as Jackson Stewart. Moses Arias as Rico became part of the main cast in season 2, but he was not in this episode. So we touched on this a bit, but like, what are your first impressions rewatching Hannah Montana as an adult? Like, you said you kind of didn't see the pilot, but like, did you still find it funny? Did you think it was a show that maybe adults and kids could enjoy? Because that was kind of an era where Disney was trying to make it a family sort of program.
Yeah, I thought it was very entertaining and like there was a lot of like physical gags and like yeah, kind of physical comedy that was really working in the pilot. And yeah, just made it really fun. Well, okay, I also want to talk about the point that you were talking about of like how they were testing it out with Lizzie McGuire because I never made that connection. Like that's such
I
a
didn't either until I
cool
read
thing.
about it.
Yeah, because that was like a huge thing, like you were saying. I think that this whole idea of the secret identity is something that, yeah, like a lot of people think about, especially like because they're celebrities and like that's been a thing for a while. And I feel like a lot of people are always kind of curious of like, oh, what would it be like to be famous? So this show is kind
Mhm.
of like a real look at what that would actually be like instead of it just being like the glamour and glitz of it and just kind of showing like, oh yeah, like if you actually were famous, you would have to maybe tell some of your friends, and some of them might not treat you the same afterwards, but maybe some of the real ones would. And just like those real life situations that probably, yeah, do happen to like people that become famous, especially when they're younger. I think also what's nice too is I like the mix of there's the family stuff going on, and then there's also
Mm-hmm.
the friendship and the school world. So it's just
Yeah.
very like everything you can relate to, like having an annoying brother or sibling and like kind of those dynamics, and then also having a friend at school and having some people that you don't get along with. So there's just like a lot in this pilot and show that's super grounded that like everyone could relate to or find something to relate to, but then there's also this like fantasy whimsical element to it of this like being a pop star, and what that could be like. And
Yeah.
it makes that everyday life situation more fun and
Yeah.
entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on this like a little bit with wizards, like where they have like, their secret magic powers. Like, I think like it feels very 2000s. I don't really know how much they do that anymore, but to have a secret element, a secret identity,
Mhm.
you're a wizard, you're a pop star, something like that,
Right.
I think is like a really interesting tactic to keep kids engaged. But then, like you said, they also have the home life and the school life, which keeps it grounded and relatable, which I think is great.
Mhm.
And like I like hadn't thought about this until you were just kind of like mentioning like all of this stuff. For a 22-minute episode, it packs in a lot and does a lot of great exposition without it feeling boring,
Yeah, yeah.
which is so important for a pilot and then a kids pilot too. You cover a lot of ground.
And a lot of like relationships too, because yeah, you have the family
Yeah.
relationships, like sibling and parent, and then best friend, and then even another best friend, and then a crush, and then bullies. Like there's a lot
Yeah.
of things going on, like you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, they keep it very like fun, fast paced, but not feeling rushed or anything.
Well, let's dive into the episode. We'll get into some more discussion questions. We have the cold open, which is the double life hook. We open a Hannah Montana in concert, which, fun fact, they actually paid people to come to these concerts. They would have a full audience for these segments before she got huge. We find out that when she takes off the wig, she's just a regular girl, Miley Stewart. What are your thoughts on the costume designer? We only see him in this one episode. I can see why he didn't stay. I think the actor was probably doing the best with what he had, but it just seemed a little bit over the top. But what did you think of him as a character or his relevance?
Well, yeah, the first thing I noticed was I didn't remember him, so that makes
Yeah.
sense that you said that he wasn't in really many of the other episodes. It seemed like the main purpose of having his character in this episode was just to do the like fashion bits. The writing in this episode is obviously so great, but like there were so many things I noticed that like they would have certain things in the beginning and then bring them back in the end, and I
Yeah.
like it's just like fun when you kind of have those things connect. So yeah, for him, like where I see the biggest payoff of having his character was the scene at the end with Jackson in Miley's
You're right.
clothes. Aside from that, like I guess it was to emphasize like she is a big deal. She has clothing designers, like probably has makeup artists. Besides the first scene where she's performing in front of like a huge crowd, it almost doesn't really feel like she's a pop star. You know what I'm saying? Because like there's
Yeah.
not many people around her. There's not like paparazzi at her house. Like, well, even though I know that they don't know who she is. So that was like the one thing that I feel was interesting that wasn't super defined. And like with the fashion designer, I feel like he provided a little bit of that, of just like there's a team around her. Because aside from him in this episode, like it's just the dad. It almost seems too low key. You would think that like she would
Yeah.
have people calling her like record label people, all these things, but there's not that. It's very focused on the grounded stuff.
Yeah, what's interesting is they do say like in the TV they're like global pop sensation, and then like you said,
Mhm.
there's no security. Like the bodyguard Roxy doesn't show up yet. You're right, no one's calling her. And then the thing that really got me was they're all outside of her dressing room. He says go home. They're like okay. They close the door and she takes her wig off in the
Yeah,
dressing
right,
room. I was
right.
like, first of all, your dad just said I'm gonna get in the
Literally
limo.
doesn't.
You wash up. Who's getting in the limo? Miley? Who's gonna let Miley in the limo? They don't care about her. Who like does everyone just
Yeah.
know who Miley and Hannah is? I don't know. It always there are like lots of plot holes in terms of that. Like the
Interesting.
the biggest one is like do people believe that Hannah is a different person just because she has
Yeah,
blonde hair and not brown?
right.
Also, Who's Robbie Ray? Is he Miley's dad or is he Hannah's? Same thing with the brother. Whose brother is he? Miley's or Hannah's? Like, there's not a huge distinction. He
Do you
says he
think
has that
Hannah?
mustache, but he calls himself Robbie Ray as Miley's dad and as Hannah's. And he's a
Oh,
celebrity
really?
too in the world, in that universe. Everyone knows Robbie Ray was that country artist. And like Rico comes up and he knows it's Miley's dad, but he doesn't ever hide that he's also Hannah's dad.
Yeah, that is a plot hole. I never thought about that. Because yeah, you would think that
Yeah.
like he would do a different name and then that his last name would be Montana. And then even like for Jackson, I'm surprised that like Jackson being the brother doesn't give away because like he goes on the date with this girl and so like
Yes!
everyone knows Jackson, but yeah.
I do think that in the first scene, like for the first 2 minutes, everything felt very, very Disney Channel. They were like, oh, like, it was just like so fast. They were, and like
Mhm.
the exposition was a little bit super spoon fed in this thing too, where they were like,
But you don't
"You're a
notice it.
pop
That's the
star."
interesting.
It bothered me a little bit just because it felt
Mhm.
very like distinctively Disney Channel, like very like watered down, where they were like, "Lily alert! Oh, Lily's coming! Quick, take the wig!" And then you hear them go, "Oh." I was like, okay. And they're like, "She's your best friend, Mile. You can't hide this forever." And it was just like a lot of Disney Channel stuff was going around with these random jokes, and then the designer had to hide or go away, or it was like a lot was happening, and it just felt super Disney. But it's okay. It's Disney. Okay,
Yeah,
now
it literally is though.
we have to talk about the most iconic part of Hannah Montana, besides the wig, the theme song.
Oh
I
yeah.
The theme song is such an anthem. I mean, it's the best song ever. The theme song would sometimes just give me chills because you just get so excited when it has that
Mhm.
huge drummer who goes bum ba da bum ba. Like when it starts out, you're woo! Come on, everybody! And it's just like gets you all hyped up and excited, and it does exactly what a theme song's supposed to do. Everyone loves it, but also it tells you the story.
Right, right.
Everything you need to know to follow the episode is right there. You get the best of both worlds. You're a girl at school, you're famous, and you see her change clothes at the end and go, ah ha ha ha. Like, it's an icon. It's actually so iconic that I was playing a board game with my family a while ago called like Mind the Gap or whatever. It's like Generations. And you have to like sometimes hum a theme song or just a regular song. And one of them was Best of Both Worlds, the Hannah Montana theme song. Like we said, this was a huge pop culture moment, and it still is. Like 20 years later, we're still talking about it. We're having like revivals or whatever this is gonna be. Like, this was huge. But yeah, like I said, gives me chills. Love the lights. Love how I even like love like the Megatrons or the whatever with the characters on it for like the starring whoever. So great. What are your thoughts on the theme song?
Yeah, I think it's really fun, like you mentioned, and like just super aspirational, like it just feels super cool and fun, and it gives you kind of a glimpse of like what being a pop star would feel like. One thing I
Yeah.
did want to mention also with the Lily entrance, this girl skateboarding
Oh, the skater! I
representation.
forgot.
Oh,
Yeah.
like one of the first that I've seen on Disney Channel. Oh my gosh. And that's how I
Who's a
definitely,
girl?
yeah, right. That's how I definitely know I didn't see this pilot because I would have remembered that. But yeah, she skateboards in, like, coolest entrance ever for a character. And yeah, especially in this episode, like, I love Lily's character. She's so fun, so cool, so like confident and outspoken. And like, I just feel like I haven't seen too many characters like her in a while, especially for like girl characters. But yeah, she is such a cool character. I love her.
They do kind of like take that away in a couple
I
seasons. Where
know,
like
yeah.
she's a completely different character, but at least it stayed
Oh,
for longer than
really?
just an episode.
Oh, dang. Does
Yeah, like
her like with later episodes, does her character kind of change from like the pilot, would you say? Because I can't remember.
yeah. I mean, I think about like I see reels on my phone for this like all the time, and it's always from like season four, which was so different because like they're in a different house. She's working at the pier,
Mm.
but if you look in between, like, so this girl's wearing a beanie, cargo shorts, and like two braids. In
Mm.
like season like two or three, she's dressing differently. Her hair is fixed and she's obviously wearing a lot of makeup, and like we're not skating anymore. Like, it's
Yeah, right,
I
right.
mean, you can always say like, oh well, it's because the character grew up, and I'm sure that is part of it, but also like the pilot especially, but even like season one is like really just trying to see like who these characters are, what our audience is responding to most importantly. Like, were kids maybe not super engaged with the skater character and that's why they changed her? Like, I don't know. But I mean, it comes back. Like, there's a whole episode where she's in a skating competition.
Oh, okay.
It is the B storyline, and we don't actually get to see her do the competition, but she talks about it a lot. So
Okay.
I mean, she does it. But yeah, so moving right along. The key tension is Miley's secrecy about hurting the relationship she cares about the most, which is, like we said, Lily. So, okay, this was kind of interesting. Corbin Blue was a guest star as Johnny on this episode. The cast of High School Musical promoted Hannah Montana before it came out because High School Musical was such a big success in January of the same year. They promoted this because, and also I wanted to say like the Lizzie McGuire connection, but also it was kind of like Lizzie McGuire meets High School Musical because of the whole musical element, you know? So like
Yeah,
it,
right.
the promotion makes sense. But what didn't make sense is when Corbin Blue walks on, no one applauds. No one cheers. He's just like another rando. Which I was like, maybe, because when I first watched it, I was like, oh, well, it's because he, like, High School Musical hadn't come out yet. And I was like, no, it did come out already. Like, this was already a huge thing. Because he comes back in a later season in an episode called We're All on This Date Together. He shows up, and the crowd's like, woo! It's like the whole sitcom, I'm so excited to see you here applause. So I thought it was interesting he didn't get it here. But he
It might
slayed.
be because like when they were filming, it hadn't come out before. So like when they filmed the episode and then like edited it because it was the first one, it probably was edited before High School Musical came out that year. And so then they weren't thinking like, oh, people know him. But it is interesting,
Yeah.
yeah.
But, like, you can always put in a track, you know?
But maybe back then it was like they had to cut the tapes and the film and
Oh yeah, they did have to do that back in the day. So
right?
maybe okay, okay. I'll buy that. I'll buy it.
But I don't know. I don't know.
Sounds good. We're in school right now. We're meeting Corbin Blue, her crush. She puts ketchup on her hands and says it's a moisturizer. Funny joke. And then we meet Amber and Ashley. So I was thinking about them a lot in comparison to the Wizards episode we watched where we met Gigi and her posse. In my opinion, the introduction of Amber and Ashley was way better. And
Hmm.
I don't know if that's because I actually remember them as characters because they stay for the rest of the season where Gigi, or the rest of the series where Gigi doesn't, or if like they honestly, I don't know. I think it was just easier because we both knew their names. It wasn't just a
Right.
girl and her posse, and like
Right.
they had like their own little thing. We have like that little like Gretchen moment where Ash is just trying to please Amber because she's obviously the queen bee. But I honestly kind of like them as characters. I think they're overall utilized pretty well throughout the series. Like they it just makes because like you said, it makes sense for Miley to have a nemesis at school. She can't be the most popular girl in school and maintain
Yeah,
the secret
yeah.
identity. It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, like what are your thoughts on Amber and Ashley?
I thought that they were just really funny, even though they're the bully characters, because it's just so dramatic, and it's
Yeah,
funny because it's like in middle school, like it does feel like that,
yeah,
and also like there probably are people that they just do act like that, like they're young, it's immature and
yeah,
all that stuff. But yeah, like I feel like there was just like a lot of tropes there that, are just kind of classic of there's the school crush and then all the girls, try to steal the attention or seats. And I thought it was funny because like when they steal the seats, they don't pan to Johnny, like Corbin Blue's character's reaction at all. So like you don't see how he reacts to them stealing the seats, if he cares that they're even there. I kind of liked it like that, where the first thing that like the reason that they stole the seats is to be close to the crush. But then, like, for the rest of the scene, they don't pay him any attention. Like, it's just a girl beefing with each other. And I kind of thought that that was funny. I thought that kind of does happen. I've noticed, not just with Disney Channel shows, but like a lot of pilots, they love to do a crush storyline. And
yeah.
I feel like it is obviously like a very relatable thing, but it's something that I've noticed that is interesting.
I would personally love something where like maybe it wasn't all about someone falling in love. It was really just about friends, or it was about something
Mhm.
else, and the guy was just there because he's there.
Mhm.
But I feel like Hannah Montana did a good job with it in this episode. Like, yeah, she likes him, it's obvious, but that's not what the whole episode's about. It actually is about her friendship with Lily, which
Right,
is
right.
great. Basically, at the school scene, Oliver shouts, "You have an extra ticket to Hannah Montana," and everyone, mobs them over the ticket. Lily and Oliver are Miley's best friends. They don't know her secret as of right now. And Miley says that she doesn't even like Hannah Montana because she can't go to the concert because she would be in it. I thought the Robbie Jackson scene was a really great introduction to these characters where they're kind of talking about, can I have money? Can I have money for my date? Can I do this? Thought that was kind of cute. And he's like, no, get a job. That sort of thing was great. Yeah,
And it all
okay.
plays into like, because like that whole storyline then plays into like the end where
The
Jackson,
costumes.
yeah, doing the costumes. So like that's something that I think they used all their minutes really well is like any little storyline or whatever, it all connected to the end.
Yeah. And it like gives you a good sense of those two characters. Like I feel like that is a consistent dynamic throughout. Like Robbie's never just handing
Mm,
Jackson money. Like
right,
I feel
right.
like that was a good setup and it carries throughout the series, so love that. But my big question is, do you think that Miley's fear or purpose of the secret identity would work today now that everyone wants to be famous? And like it's
Oh,
so easy to become TikTok or social media famous now,
yeah.
like even like YouTubers like 10 years ago. But like her whole thing is like I want to be a normal girl. I don't want people to treat me differently. Do you think that kind of fear or like the purpose of her hiding her identity would like resonate with kids today, or do you think they're like this doesn't make sense, like why wouldn't you want to be famous? Like I mean I feel like you could ask the same question about us, like why did we find it so attractive back then? Probably because the secret identity was interesting, but now like with social media there's no way she could get away with a secret identity,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
feel like kids just really want to be famous, and if they want to be famous they have a way to do it, which is TikTok. So like do you think that would still resonate with kids today, or like what are your thoughts on TikTok fame and how that kind of relates to the show?
I think that's a great question. I do think it would be less relatable because, yeah, more kids know now, with the internet that like they have more opportunities to become famous. And like, yeah, definitely with social media, there's a lot more of a pressure of people wanting to be seen and, yeah, be famous and stuff like that. Like, there's not really a background into how she got famous. It's just, oh, she's famous, and that's
Yes.
something that I feel like is interesting. And like, I wanted to know more backstory about was like, was this a viral, like all of a sudden she's famous type thing, or was that like always her game plan of like she wanted to be famous and like was trying for a long time, but under this Hannah Montana identity and something stuck. I knew real life Billy Ray was
Was famous.
famous, but in this show, especially as a kid, not knowing who Billy Ray
Right.
was, like he doesn't seem famous to me at all. He just seems like a
Yeah.
dad from Montana or something. Like, yeah, it definitely was not clear that she's basically an Evo baby.
Yeah, that's so true. I
Like,
they should have delved into that.
yeah. And so like that's what's interesting is like I feel like maybe not kids, but people more so today are like more against Nepo babies just because they're like, oh, well, there's more of them, and it's kind of like there is more of a
Yeah,
cultural thing of people wanting to be famous, so there's like jealousy in that aspect. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't think it would resonate as well with kids today, and that's why even like with the show that's kind of similar to Hannah Montana with this Electric Bloom show. Like they want to be famous, and like kids
yeah,
at their school know, like they start performing at their school, and like no one knows them, but that's how they, start trying to spread the word about their band. And yeah, the whole secret identity, like I think the reason why that storyline is relatable is because a lot of the times, like people might have a secret that they're hiding from friends or family or whatever, or just something about them, especially like in middle school, that you feel makes you different from other
yeah,
people, and you might feel like you want to fit in or like hide that. So I think that's the root of the relatability of the secret identity thing is like hiding something.
for
So
sure.
if they had something where that storyline was present of like hiding something, but not it being a whole identity thing, I think it could be more relatable. But yeah.
I do think I was just thinking this like right now. I think they do kind of try to make it seem like a bigger deal than it really is. Starting with the cafeteria issue where everyone mobs them and she comes home and says it's the worst day ever and he goes, "Oh no, the kids found out," and she goes, "No, this was over Hannah Montana tickets. Imagine what would happen if they did find out it was me." So like they do make it seem like like from that line alone,
Mm.
we understand that to her being known as Hannah Montana would be like the worst thing ever. And then like later that's the whole conflict with Lily who calls her Hannah on accident and then she gets mad about that. Like they probably try to justify it, but I do think you're right. I just don't know that like TikTok kids today are gonna care about that secret as much because like
Yeah,
now you
I
kind of
agree.
can't carry a secret like that anymore. So yes, that was our after school scene. Then we get to the turning point where Lily sneaks in through the window. She thinks she's about to meet Hannah Montana, but instead, after a lot of hijinks, Smiley removes the wig and says, "I'm Hannah Montana." Like the most dramatic thing ever. She's Lily's shocked, excited, but also she feels like that she's betrayed because Smiley didn't tell her sooner. It's like a loyalty issue basically because Miley does say, "I thought if you thought I was Hannah, you would like Hannah more than you would like Miley," and like that's their whole issue, and she's like, that could never happen. So there's that. The wig transformation. So okay, we talked about this a little bit, but my thing was, she she keeps the wig on when Lily sneaks in because she's like, uh oh, and then as a cover up, she puts a pie on her face, so so Lily doesn't recognize her as Miley. Why? Like she takes off her makeup. But
Mhm.
first of all, like I mean my whole thing with this is like you would not become Miley just to leave your Hannah concert. That makes no sense at all. But also like she changes her voice, she like covers her face because she's not wearing makeup, and I'm like that didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like she wasn't wearing makeup in a way that made it look like she was a whole different person. Like no one's contouring at 14 years old. Well, back then they weren't. But
Yeah.
like I don't know. I guess like how did you think about that? Did you feel anything about that? Because like she talks and like looks the exact same minus the wig on stage, and she knew Lily was gonna be at the concert.
Mhm.
So why, when it was this one-on-one thing, did she feel like she had to like hide her face and change her voice and do all of this weird stuff?
I think like she still really thought that she could convince Lily it wasn't her. Like, because at least, like, with the first scene when she's performing, she wears these sunglasses,
Oh, you're
and
right.
it makes it seem like I forget if she, like, really does that a lot or just sometimes, but, like, that helps to kind of disguise the face. But I think, like, the biggest thing from a production perspective, it was a physical gag that they thought was really funny.
Oh,
And that's what they wanted
100%.
to do. The pie, I really, I thought that was actually really smart because it's like it does cover her face a lot, and then the voice thing. What I also noticed with the pie, at least from like a writing perspective, was like it connects to the ketchup thing. So like she's really
Oh yeah.
nervous about the crush, and then she's like putting ketchup on her hand, and then to try to get out of that situation and not make it as awkward, she tells Johnny Corbin
It's
Blue
a
that
moisturizer.
it's moisturizer. So that
That
was
is
the same
great.
thing with the pie, where she, does this
It's a
really weird
face
thing,
wash.
and then yeah, says it's a face wash. And so it's kind of interesting that like Lily was present for both of those like lies, but doesn't connect it.
To that point though, Lily is unbelievably gullible. She's like, let me call my friend Miley. No, it doesn't work in here. Her phone rings. She's calling Miley. Miley's phone rings. Wow, that was weird. Like, I was like, girl, why are you so stupid? Like, I mean, I know she's like young, and I mean, I get it. Naive and gullibility. I'm
Isn't
probably
that
still just
her
as,
character though? Like
I
a little
don't
bit
think it
or
is
no?
later. I feel like it's
Oh,
not
okay,
like that
okay.
later when she stops skating or whatever. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't completely buy it. I feel like 14-year-olds are super skeptical.
I think the other thing, I think there's two things. So I think one thing is like she's still in starstruck mode. So like she's just really like in heaven being like, "Oh my gosh, I have met Hannah Montana. Like this is crazy." And that's why it's just kind of like she's believing everything she says. She's almost like a god to her almost.
Yeah.
And so I think that is impairing her judgment. And I think the second thing is like I think kids today are more skeptical, and I don't really know why,
That's
maybe
true.
social media, I don't know. But I think back then, like, I don't think kids were as skeptical of like being like, oh, that's fake. Because like now today, especially with AI, it's like people can be like, oh, that's AI, oh, that's not real, oh, this, blah, blah, blah. But like
Yeah.
back then, there wasn't any of that. So it was just kind of like what you see is what you get, and like it was more believable.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I also noticed like it the most in this scene. They look so young, it's crazy. Like, oh my God, when Oliver walks in that cafeteria scene, who is that? He's like a baby. They just look so, it's so crazy. Think how young they were. Like, I don't know, because now they're
They grew
like
up.
30. They're like
Well, yeah,
35
yeah.
almost. We talked a little bit about how we kind of liked that Harper didn't know about Alex's magic secret in the first episode, and
Mm-hmm.
it stays that way for a couple of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But this, we start out Lily didn't know, but the whole idea of this episode is that Lily finds out. Do you think it would have been more interesting if they had prolonged that? Because in the second episode, Oliver finds out. Like, they find out
Mm-hmm.
very quickly. Do you think it would have been more interesting if we had prolonged this secret and, like, seen kind of like what we see in Wizards is Harper doesn't know for a while.
I actually did think about that. And yeah, they really could have prolonged it. And they could have made it just more dramatic and dramatic of like even 3 episodes, she doesn't know and she's hiding the secret and like the hijinks get crazier and crazier. So yeah, I wonder why they didn't choose to do that. I think maybe it's because kind of what you were saying about the show really being about friendship. They were like, well, if this show is about friendship, we need to have like that established really quickly early on. And so then we can have Lily in the picture. Because like if you don't have her in the picture, then the other episodes, like she's always going to be left out and there's always going to be a tension.
Yeah.
And probably kids would not buy that they'd still be friends if she's still like lying about the concert. Because especially with the
Yeah.
concert, it's kind of like if she really doesn't have a reason to go, like, yeah, what is the secret there? And like most friends, if someone's lying about something like that over and over again, like it'd be hard to keep being friends with them longer without
Yeah,
finding
and
out the
they
truth.
do play to that because she does say like, I thought we didn't keep secrets.
Hmm.
Like, way to go, Miley Stewart slash Hannah Montana. Like, they do make her upset about that. My next question was like, do you feel like the upsetness is justified? But I kind of feel like, yeah, like now that you're like talking about the whole like lying thing, I hadn't like really thought of it that way. But yeah, I kind of feel like Lily's reaction for a 14-year-old girl who just found out her best friend's been lying to her for who knows how long. It was huge and a big over the top reaction, but I guess it kind of was justified because like you were kind of saying earlier, like middle school, when you're in middle school, that is your entire world. That is
Yeah.
literally everything, and like nothing else in the world really seems to matter because kids are just that self-centered. So like I do kind of see like why Lily would feel betrayed by that, and like
Mhm.
that probably is everything because like you think you know someone, and then
Yeah.
like this
Yeah.
happens. You know you've been lied to. We've seen her be lied to at least once because
Mhm.
she couldn't go to the concert. Like, yeah, I mean, do you think her reaction, like being so over the top and storming out, like, do you think that's justified?
I do. One thing I didn't like though that she had done and Miley also didn't like was like she then kind of felt entitled of like, oh, now we're gonna tell Amber and
Tell
we're gonna do
yeah,
this. And like that's the thing that I think for the audience like really hits home of like why Miley doesn't want her to find out is because
right.
she doesn't want to be used, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like if people find out she doesn't want to be treated differently and she also doesn't want to be used because like obviously being a pop star very cool thing, a lot of perks, but yeah, you don't want it to be like people are only friends with you because you have these cool things and stuff like that. And
Right.
so yeah, I think for Miley like she really just doesn't want to lose this grounded reality of like knowing why people are friends with her. I mean, the other thing too is like Lily's probably been a big fan of Hannah Montana for a long time. So
Yeah.
that's you don't see it in the episode too much because like we just jump in right away. But like
Right.
Lily probably has been a fan of her for at least months and maybe years. So like that's how long she's been lied to as well, and that adds to the
Yeah.
drama.
Yeah. That makes sense. So then Lily finds out, they make up a little bit, then they go to Miley's house and she says, "Let me show you my Hannah closet," and it's like gorgeous. Honestly, I think it's an iconic closet. I wish we'd spent more time in the closet because it's just so cool. And like, I don't know, I would like the little carousel too, like that's iconic, love it. However, like who's funding this? Like who like is it Robbie Ray? Is Miley paying for this with her money? Like I didn't I mean that's always an issue because Robbie Ray apparently is a stay-at-home dad. Don't know where they get the money for this Malibu on the beach house or whatever. So I'm wondering who's funding that. But also Miley style versus Hannah style. They both like
Mm.
evolve over the years, like we kind of talked about with like Lily. But like I get the whole idea. She's like this little country girl from Tennessee, so like Hannah's gonna be a little like bell bottom
Wait, is she not
jeans
from
and sneaker.
Montana?
No, she's from Crowley Corners, Tennessee.
Wait, but that would make more sense if she was from Montana.
Yeah, I mean yes, but no, they talk about that. She has like a little bit of an accent too,
Well, yeah, yeah, I heard the accent.
and the whole movie takes place in Crowley Corners, Tennessee,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and she's Hannah and Miley there.
Oh
So
wait,
like
I
that's where they're
wasn't
both from.
gonna say that. Okay, at least for the who's funding the closet and the house question. So now knowing that Billy Ray in the show was famous, he's probably kind of rich. Like so rich that he doesn't really have to do a full-time job anymore. And then also Miley's probably pulling in some money that's helping with the house. I think who's funding the closet is the record label. Now, the record label is not mentioned in this at all, and I don't know
Or
if
the
that's
series. It's never mentioned.
right, but that's what I think. Because like if you do have this artist that is like making a lot of money, selling out concerts, all these things. Like part of what I would imagine the artist could be negotiating for is costume stuff. Like it's part of the concert, part of the production. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. I think Miley overreacted when Lily calls her Hannah in the closet.
mm,
She's like that was like the whole thing of the episode where she was like, I forget what she said. She's like, "Why you should want this for me, Hannah?" And she goes,
mm.
"Hannah!" And like they storm out. Like I mean, it was like, whoa, this is. First of all, I don't find it realistic that Lily would slip up and call her Hannah. Like she just found out. I think that day. It's a little unclear if it's the next day or that day. Like I that doesn't sound believable. And then if she did, who cares? She didn't slip up in front of Amber and Ashley. But it's like this whole like blowout, and she's like, I'm glad you told her. No, I'm not telling you. Like what? Like what was your opinion on that?
I actually did think it was justified because it's just like they've been best friends for so long, like she knows her name, and like even just a slip up
Yeah.
like that, like really shows that she was treating her differently or seeing her differently at least in that moment. Because it's kind of like it reminds me of like if there was a boyfriend girlfriend situation and the girlfriend calls the boyfriend like the wrong name, of like an ex.
Yeah.
That's where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, but I only called you that name once, and it's like, no, but that means something. So I think that's what it is. It's
Yeah.
like it has a deeper meaning.
Yeah. I just kind of feel like the reaction, the action wasn't enough to cause that reaction. I think what should have happened was like it could have happened in the dressing room where the big conflict is you lied to me. How do I know you're not going to lie to me again? That would have made
Mm.
sense to be the point of the episode because Miley later says she's like, what I thought was going to happen did happen.
Yeah, right.
But what really she was afraid of was like Lily was going to be mad at her and expose it. So like that's more,
Well,
it would make
no,
more sense that,
I think that it was more like she just didn't want to be treated differently.
yeah, that's true. I just think the whole like you lied to me thing would have been a way better conflict than I accidentally called
Yeah.
you Hannah one time in your closet. Like it just didn't seem.
Yeah, what I definitely can agree with is I feel like probably for most like people watching it, especially the kids, they wouldn't make that connection like you're saying. Like they would be like, "Oh, like it was just a mistake. What's the big deal?" Because it does seem really subtle. It doesn't seem like yeah, it does seem just like a simple mistake and stuff like that. And maybe it's because like because we've met Lily and like we've seen a lot of her character, like we have a lot of sympathy for her character, so that could also be where we know that she is well intentioned, but Miley in that moment really doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, yeah. So then we have our second scene with this costume designer guy, where. So, okay, this one threw me a bit. So he does know about Miley and Hannah's secret identity because
Yeah,
Miley shows up
right.
as Miley late for the thing. But I'm like, I don't know. I mean, their house has so many glass doors. I feel like they're just playing really fast and loose with this secret. Like someone could just
Right,
walk
right.
in at any time. Like how is Lily not found out on accident at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I felt that the costumer was really cringy. We don't need to beat this to death, but I just felt like he was really cringy when he was like, "My face burns like a baby's bottom. Ooh, cowboy hat, yippee-ki-yay!" I was like,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I feel like
"Yeah,
he did yeah, like you said, he had a lot of cringy lines and like I feel like most of it, the reason that you're noticing it is because you're just like, why is he here? You know?
yeah,
Like because
yeah."
it's not even like, oh, like you have a concert tomorrow and the dress that, you were gonna have, it got torn. Like there's no like reason he has to be there right now. It doesn't feel urgent.
Well, it was like, well, I thought it was because he really wanted to try clothes on, but then we find out that Robbie put him up to it and was paying the costumer to get Jackson to wear girl clothes.
This does feel very random. And it like it almost just felt like well, yeah, it kind of felt unrealistic because it's just kind of like he could do a million other things and get $20. So
Like
why
work
is
at
this like
Rico's, which is what he ends up doing.
yeah, so it just kind of feels like is he really that desperate for money? Like, I don't know. But I think that they just were like, "Oh, another physical gag. This is funny." And like people will think that his character is funny and desperate and all these things. And I guess that's true. Like it does
Yeah.
make you see like it actually does characterize him very well. And maybe that's why they really did it. But
Yeah, true. I really liked when they were making up Miley and Lily. I really liked her response because she says something like Miley says something about like you're gonna want to tell Amber and Ashley about me all this stuff, and
mm,
Lily says, "Of course I'll want to, but I won't." I
right.
really liked that line because it
Yeah.
felt realistic to say like,
Mhm.
"No, no, I won't do that." Like that's one thing, but to be like, "I'll want to, but I won't." Like that, I feel like is like a deeper thing than I won't do it versus
Mhm.
like I recognize I'm gonna want to do it, but I love you so much. I know this is important to you, so I will not do it no matter how much I want to. Like I feel
Right.
like that speaks to the depth of their friendship or like any friendship. And I feel like that's the difference between like a friend and like a friend, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Like I feel like that was like her moment of like proving to Miley that like she's gonna keep the secret and it's gonna be
Yeah,
okay. I
right.
mean, I think that recognition level is a little bit too deep for a 13, 14-year-old, but I really liked the line. Like, did that stand out to
Yeah.
you at all?
No, it did. I did because yeah, she was honest and like it was a very honest like response, but also yeah, shows that she values the friendship and that like she's not using her again. It's like, okay, yeah, I know the super cool thing
Right.
about you, but I'm not going to use it for my advantage. Like, I think that line is probably one of the most important in the show because it really brings back the whole message and theme of friendship.
Yeah. And then to wrap it up, we have our last scene in the school cafeteria where Oliver's carrying around the sweat towel he got from Hannah Montana. No one believes him. And then Lily gives Amber and Ashley the scarf to mob them as a joke. Oliver is so creepy.
Yeah, I didn't,
He
okay, I
says
did
stuff.
not
He's
like
like,
Oliver's
I
character. I
wanna,
forgot
I
to mention
wanna I want to shampoo and brush that long, beautiful hair. I'm like, you're
yeah.
like 13, 14. This is disgusting and
When
crazy.
when Miley says get help, realest line in the show.
Do
Realest
it.
line.
Yes, do it. Get
No,
help, Oliver, please.
I did not like Oliver's character because like the thing is like it seemed like they didn't want to make him like classic nerd trope, but then they just made him like yeah, weird like girl obsessed kind of nerd and like it was just weird, but like he thinks he's
No,
cool.
he's just obsessed with Hannah. He's only
No, no,
obsessed with
not just with
Hannah.
obsessed with Hannah. Because no, he's not just obsessed with Hannah. Because he like his intro, he walks in and he's like flirting with every single girl in the
Smoking Oaken.
school and making all of
Forgot
them feel
about that.
uncomfortable. And I'm just like, why are we doing this? Like what? And also
I
because
know.
okay,
When
another
you
thing is like he like his friends in the show, right, are two girls. So you would think that he would act more normal around, I don't
you
know.
would think.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
I
when
don't
you
know.
walk in at 13 and say, "Hi, my name's Smoking Oaken."
Yeah, I just was like, at least with Johnny, right? He had a crush on Hannah Montana. And okay, I actually do like that representation of a fanboy of boys having like a crush on a girl pop star. I think that's great. You don't see that a lot. But at least with Johnny, like he was respectful. Like he
Yeah.
did pretend that his little brother wanted the autograph, but he, was nice and then once he got the autograph, was on his way, right? He was a respectful fan.
Yeah.
Oliver needs to learn from Johnny.
Every time that happens, they play the laugh track when he's like weird and creepy and gross. Do you think that was like considered normal in 2006? Or do you think it was considered normal then? Or did kids not get the message and it was actually kind of there for parents who did think that was creepy? Or do you think like we just were not aware of how creepy that was until today, 20 years later?
Well, yeah, I think that back then things were a little bit more naive and innocent. Like people didn't have as many bad assumptions. So like with a character like him back then, I think people were just like, "Oh, this is funny, this is ridiculous, this is crazy." But like that's fan culture and like, there's people that are kind of like that, but we make fun of them, we're laughing at them. But in today's
Yeah.
day and age, it's like yeah, because of social media and like all these crazy things that happen, people are more quick to like see the negative side and like Yeah, maybe it's just like because there's been more cases, especially with social media, of like people taking fame and like fan culture way too crazy that like that's why we feel like it's more close to home. Whereas back then, like there were not as many
Yeah,
stories about that, so it wasn't as big of a thing.
true. Yeah. Well, to wrap it up, like we said, they're in the cafeteria, everyone's obsession, and the whole button of the episode is that everyone attacks her because it's Hannah Montana's scarf. The end. So yeah, I mean, we kind of got into it, but like overall, like, would you watch another episode?
Yeah, yeah. I actually wanted to watch another episode right after, but then I didn't want to get confused, so I didn't. But I will be watching
It's true.
another
It's a
episode.
smart move.
And because I specifically like I don't know why, but with this sitcom I really don't remember a lot of it and like the storylines, like yeah, I wanna get into the lore so I can feel connected to all the Hannah Montana fans out there.
Yeah, it's great. My sister and I actually watched the whole season like when we were like in eighth and ninth grade. We would just watch together, and like I just like love it. It's like a comfort show. Just 'cause, like you don't have to think too hard. It's pretty
Yeah.
funny. Jackson's honestly hilarious. Like, I want to watch the Kill a Mockingbird episode. I watched it when I was studying the book. It's just really the whole idea is like you just can't read. It's funny. Um, yeah, honestly, it's a great show. I feel like it does a good job. I feel like we said, there are cringy moments, like the weird costume designer guy, like very 2006. But at the same time, I feel like for the most part, it kind of holds up. What do you
Mhm.
think?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it doesn't really date itself that much. It's still funny. A lot of, yeah, grounded, relatable themes. I think the only thing that clearly dates it is just the fact that it's square and that,
Oh yeah.
the quality. But besides that, I think you could show this to a kid today, and I think they would still be really into it, especially like kids that aren't on social media yet.
Happy 20th anniversary, Hannah Montana, for when this airs.
Yeah.
I
Right.
definitely want to look at the anniversary special because that'll be interesting. See what happens. But yeah, any final thoughts to close us out?
I was gonna say like I do feel like with kids, especially younger kids, like a lot of kids, they like attention, and like
Yeah.
they definitely with this show, it just seems like, oh my gosh, like she's getting a lot of attention, she's like being famous and talented. And so yeah, I feel like that's like another thing that's relatable for kids. Like something that I was thinking about, maybe I was more influenced by Hannah Montana than I had realized, but when I was young, like if you asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, my answer first was always a singer, actor, and dancer. So like that was something like I want to be a rock star, pop star, like just want to be famous, like all of that kind of stuff. And so yeah, with Hannah Montana, I wonder if like some of it came from there or if because I had those interests, then that's why I kind of liked the
Yeah.
show and got her wig at some point. Yeah, like just any kid who's like interested in creative stuff, singing, dancing, acting, all that stuff, if you're interested in any of that kind of thing, I think Hannah Montana would really interest those type of kids because they're like, oh wow, she's doing this creative career and, is famous for it.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for this discussion on Hannah Montana. Happy 20th anniversary. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Sitcom Queens. And if you want to email us suggestions, you can get to us at sitcomqueens@gmail.com. Um,
Follow us on
yeah.
TikTok at Sitcom Queens. We just secured that handle.
Yay, it's exciting. Yeah, so follow us everywhere, socials, YouTube, subscribe there. Follow us to see all of our fun posts in between. We're gonna work on getting some really fun content out in between our episodes. And let us know in the comments or in an email or both if you like it. Leave us a 5-star review. If you love us, leave us a 5-star review. If you hate us, still give us
Leave us
five
a five
stars, but
star
don't say
review.
anything mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give us all 5 stars. We would love it. We want to hear your feedback. What do you like? What do you want to hear? We would love
Are
to hear
there
your
any
suggestions.
TV shows that you guys want us to review on the podcast? We
Yeah,
will think
or
of.
DCOMS. Can't wait to hear from you. So, bye. This episode of Sitcom Queens was produced by Aldyn and Michaela. This episode was edited by Aldyn. Sitcom Queens is a You Really Care Productions and Girly Productions production.